Yo, what's up, and welcome to the channel of the Shotgun Shogun. And it's my favorite time of the bye week is damage by the numbers. Is this unit gonna be good? Do we know what kind of modifiers it has? Is the damage not up to the standards of the finest players in the community? Probably not, but guess what? We're gonna look at it anyways. So we've got Landy, the limited unit that was just announced yesterday on the live stream. Patch went in last night, as always. As soon as I woke up, it's Christmas morning to me because my good friend Math, who makes the damage calculator, was like, hey, guess what? Here's a gift for you, buddy. The calculator is updated, so I can theorycraft my morning away before I have to go to work meetings. So we do have Landy, and right now, right out of the gate, let's take a look at her modifiers. Her S1 attack 1, power 1. S3 attack is 0.9, power is 1. When you soul burn it, that's going to go to 1.15 and then 1 power rating. Now, what does a lot of this mean? You don't know. You really don't. Doesn't matter. Just plug numbers into the calculator, right? So we're going to assume actually, first, let's go take a look at what kind of stats we can build on her. Now, she does have the same base stats as Yuna, as well as the same imprint. So we're going to kind of take a look at this, right? This is not a great Yuna build. I've literally just been using her for farming friendships, so we're gonna go take a look. I know, also Unity, right? Memes. Okay, so my opinion on how I'm going to build Landy, right, is I'm going to probably build her speed bruiser, and that's going to be speed crit, mostly because I don't have very good immunity sets, although we could potentially put immunity on her, but I'm going to go with a speed crit build. Now we're going to look at, let's see, we want some speed, we want some attacks. Let's take this. Actually, you know what, no, let's not take that. We're going to use who has my attack? Ravi does. Let's use this because this has a good amount of attack. Now, the one thing you're going to want to know with Landy, right, because she doesn't scale off of speed, off of HP, off of defense, things like that, you are going to want to have a mix of attack and crit damage. This means that you can't just stack nothing but crit damage and be able to dumpster people like an Alencia or a Shu or a Tywin or something along those lines, right? So it's going to be very much like Grass Ranger Ravi, in that you are going to have to balance that attack alongside of the crit damage. Now, the upside is that as she attacks, she's going to be getting a lot more attacks. So you can go a little light on the attack in favor of more crit damage, but we are going to try a couple of different builds with the calculator, right? Okay, so moving on with the gear, let's go with, now that we got some attack there, let's go with a little bit of crit damage. We are going to want to put some defensive stats on here, right? So this is good, actually. Do I have a good... That's effectiveness. We don't need effectiveness. We do want to also make sure that she is fast, right? Actually, I'll just give her this. We're just theory crafting right now. We're just theory crafting. I would like to get her to about 220, 230 speed. I'd like to make sure that she has a good amount of hit points in this theoretical build. So let's give her this. We're going to be keeping these defensive stats, right? I think that if we can get some boots with good defensive speed here, we'll keep this ring because this is good crit damage, good defense, doubles up on the attack, so our attack is still pretty high, right? Let's take crit set out of the mix. We need defensive boots. I'm going to give you this. Oh, that drops your critical hit chance down a lot, though. Do I have better... Can I give you defensive boots? And then... I mean, those would be good, but then she would be way too squishy. Actually, let's try this theoretical squishy build. 215, not... no, she's going to get dumpstered if I use this. Let's see here. That's attack. As I show, like, everybody, everything on my count. I don't really care too much about the effect resist on her. Mostly because she's just not built that way, right? So we'll go with an attack. Actually, we could probably get away with a not attack ring. Let me see what rings I have defensively that have subs in... good attack subs. Do I have a good... HP or defense? Actually, I could just give her this, actually. That would easily put her above the critical hit chance requirement. Yeah, it'll also put me at 17k hit points at 215 speed. Let's actually just theorycraft this build right here, okay? So we will go back over to the calculator. Let's just see how much... I mean, 17k hit points is pretty big, right? So we're over at the calculator. Let me find my screen here. Put you... That is not what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay. Okay. So we've got the screen. I'm gonna move this over here. I need more screens, actually. Okay, so we're going to... Let's just assume that we put her artifact on her, right? Does it have her artifact on here? No, but we'll just assume greater attack. Okay, so she was at 3042 attack. She was at 2082 critical hit damage. We won't worry about anything like that. Let's just say we're going in against an SSB here. We got greater attack. No rage set. Full fighting spirit, because we start off with full fighting spirit. All of these are maxed. So with greater attack, this is, and full fighting spirit, because we're going to assume that we come in, let's say we go in against an FCC, right? So let's say FCC probably is going to have an adamant shield, damage reduction. They're gonna have shields, and we'll just assume buffs, right? So no full attack stacks. So right out the gate, this build is going to do 7,800 on the S3, the initial S3. We'll just assume 1,000. Actually, let's say we're going to go against bruisers, right? Because she's supposed to be a bruiser tank buster. So you could soul burn this for 9,000 off the S1. Now, let's say later in the game, right? You get 5 attacks in. Because let's say you use Adventurer Ross, you're turn cycling. At 5 stacks with full fighting spirit, to this team, you're doing 92, 96. Does this have a thing where... Oh, yeah, it's full fighting spirit. It's the plus 15%. If you don't have full fighting spirit, I don't know why you would use this without full fighting spirit, but you're still doing 8,400, right? When you get your max stacks. And this is a kind of unit that, especially if you're coming in at 17k hit points, right? You are not in it to like just one turn. This is like a late game type thing here. Even with defense buff on, you're still doing 6,300 to a tank, to 1,100 defense bruiser with an through an adamant shield. If you take the adamant shield out, that's going to be real big. And no defense buff, you're doing 11,000 damage. This is like, we're talking like frenzy 4 or 5 here by the time you're getting to this point, right? And that's not a bad build at all. 215 speed. If we pop back over to that, you're looking at 215 speed, 17k hit points, 1,000 defense. That's not taken into account, obviously, because I don't know that management equipment, like equipment manager, takes into account your artifact at all. And I'm not paying 600K to move this over without her, you know, being already in my account. So I mean, we'll check it later, right? But I mean, even if you take off the greater attack, let's just say you give her just normal attack, right? That's still 10,000 damage. And theoretically, in most teams, you should have that. If we take off elemental advantage, it's still 9,000 damage. That's actually pretty big jump. That's 1,000 damage jump on that. So let's take a look at if we built as a just glass cannon cleaver, right? So we're talking, so we could either do super slow cleave, or we could do a fast cleave, right? We had the build earlier that let's just do like a fast, like cleave semi-riot build, right? Just to see like what kind of build, what kind of damage we can get out of this unit. And we're gonna go with, let's say, high crit damage. Let's go the opposite way, right? Let's see what we can get out of really high crit damage. But we also want some speed. Actually, let's see what we can do with this. Defense. This has attack and critical hit damage, but this has critical hit chance. We'll keep that. We'll keep this chest piece. Actually, I think the ring is just where we need to modify ourselves. Put this on. This actually might be a better build. This actually might be the better build, actually. We could bring a little bit of these stats down. I mean, 15k hit points, right? Still the same amount of defense, give or take. You still have a good amount of attack. That was actually, I think, more attack than the previous one with way more critical hit damage. Let's see. So speed. I want to get as close to... oh, here we go. This is going to be super good. Okay, so 222 speed, 13k hit points. Our defense super lacking right there, but almost max critical damage, almost, you know, 31 33 attack. This is going to be real big. Now let's pop back over to the calculator and put these numbers in. Okay, so we're looking at 31 33 attack. Now, let's say we don't use her artifact, right? Let's say we use, let's put Rengar's drink on just for testing purposes. Crit damage was 346. We'll make sure she has increased attack. Let's give her elemental advantage. We'll just assume full fighting spirit because they have immunity. So right out the gate, you can soul burn this for 13,000 damage. That's pretty big, actually. I mean, there's not too many things that's not going to just dumpster on. And you're going to be getting the extra damage from the Rengar's drink. Now, I think that if we go with portrait, I think that that'll be even better. Okay, so with portrait, if you wanted to cleave with her, just with these stats, and remember, she is 220 speed with 222 speed with 13,000 hit points in this scenario. Yes, her defense is garbage with that gear, but I mean, 13k hit points is pretty bruisery, right? That's still 11,000 damage on the S3 unsoul burned and 14,000 damage on the S3 with soul burn with these types of stats. Now, if you get somehow into later game, you're doing 15,000 damage on the S3 without soul burn, 18.5k with the soul burn. That's with 5 stacks and full fighting spirit. With take off full fighting spirit, not sure why you're going to be doing that, because you want to make sure you have that fighting spirit right. Still 13.5 and 17k damage. Now, we're also not even paying attention here to like how much damage she's doing on her S1. We've been so focused on the S3 that, wait, hold on. She's doing 15k single target to people on her S1. Are you kidding me right now? Bro, like, we're not even paying attention. I mean, sure, the S3 is AoE and does really good damage, right? But, like, bro, that S1 is 13.5k. Hold on, if we put in an adamant shield, and she's got full fighting stacks, she's using portrait, she's doing 11,000 damage on her S1 to a 1100 defense target. Bro, this is actually, she's actually insane. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, once you get full fighting stacks, I mean, even at not full fighting stacks, 8.5k on an S1 is disgusting. 11,000 damage on her S1. Hold on, let's go back to that bruiser build. Let's go back to the bruiser build that we were, so I swapped out the ring. Let's get rid of these. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I want to check out this. I want to check out a super high attack build. Because I think that might be interesting. So let's go with this ring. Let's go back to the Alencia ring that we had. This gives her the really high... oops, sorry about that. This gives her the really high defense and HP, the 17k HP. So if we're on this one, let's go back to the attack. We swapped out, what did we swap out? Oh, we had defense on the boots. Let me see if I've got like a good defensive neck, because we have more than enough crit right now. So let's see, we got this right here, right? Okay, so 15k hit points, 11 defense, 215 speed, 90% crit. This is actually probably a super solid build too. I think this is better than the previous one, and you are very tanky on this one, right? I mean, considerably for a DPSer, right? So let's get back to over to here. We're gonna plug these numbers in. Let's not do portrait. Let's do let's assume that we're going in for a Rengar's drink build, because this is going to be high attack. No, actually, I don't know that I want to use that now. Let's see. Let's use portrait. We'll use portrait just for simplicity's sake here, because yeah, 3480 in the attack, 284 on the critical hit damage. Let's just assume we have attack buff because, well, we should always have attack buff. Let's say we have elemental advantage. We will keep adamant shield. We'll keep our 1100 defense target. We won't have full fighting spirit. Let's take away the full stacks right at the beginning. Your S3 is not going to be doing as much damage, obviously, and you're going through adamant shield. So S3 7711. Well, actually, let's assume full fighting for spirit because we're going up against FCC, right? So 8567, you're also going to have the same amount. So once you have full fighting spirit, it mods right to her S1, right? And then after you soul burn, you're going to have 1.25 with the full modifier. So if you wanted to soul burn right out the gate, that's almost 11,000 damage, right? And then let's say you do get to late game, right? 11,423 damage. So you are doing 11.4 thousand damage to a bruiser. I don't know too many bruisers, especially with like 1100 defense, that are going to be able to handle too many hits like that from a 215 speed 15k. I mean, realistically, if you take her stats alone, right, with an adamant shield, if you were hitting this Yuna, you would almost be just destroying her. Like, and not only that, but I mean, you're assuming that 5 stacks, you're probably into a little bit of frenzy, right? And chances are that your max hit points are further down. Now let's see what it is against like an actual tank, right? So let's just ramp this up to like 1600. That's still 8500 damage. I mean, that's actually pretty crazy. Let's bring it back down to kill the bruiser. Let's give it increased defense, 7763. But the downside is if you have defense, she's going faster, right? That's the whole point of this character. Let's get rid of Adamant Shield. Let's add in, let's say we're trying to kill Seaside Belt, right? With the passive here. We'll get rid of the damage reduction because, well, she's not going to have it, but she's going to have the passive, right, to damage transfer. We'll take off defense buff. She's going to be taking 9500, which, I mean, for most Seaside Bells, that's not really big. You will be able to do a 12,000 to her on the critical soul burn S3. And if she's looping and lapping, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. She's going to be turn cycling like crazy, dude. Even at max with the Rengar's Drink. Now, see, here's the thing that I don't particularly like about Rengar's Drink, right? Ooh, actually, hold on, I want to see this. Dude, imagine if you trolled with the Iron Fan. Imagine you just like had a troll build with an Iron Fan that does more damage to water units, and you just take it in against like a Seaside Bell Crow DN team. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Oh, that would be so good. I might try that at some point. But I think let's see, probably Portrait or her artifact. So let's just assume her artifact, right? Let's assume we're gonna get greater attack buff, elemental advantage, full fighting spirit. Does this actually do more or less? Okay, we max stacks. Does this do less than Portrait actually? Yeah, actually it probably would if we just do increased attack and Portrait. So increased attack and Portrait is actually going to end up being better if you have an attack buff on your team. If you don't have an attack buff, obviously Portrait is not going to be as strong as just bringing her artifact. But at the same time, her artifact only has a % chance, right? The other thing too, though, with this is we'll take off elemental advantage. Like we'll take off, I mean, even if you're just doing it against other people with Arius, right? That's going to be big damage. They're going to have increased defense though. But I really like this build actually, now that I look at it. Now let's do just a crazy oh man, everything wants to pop up when I'm doing this stuff. Let's just do a crazy high damage, a high crit chance, high critical. We're not even gonna worry about speed whatsoever. We can actually probably just keep these pieces, right? So let's just focus on attack. So ring, we just want attack and critical hit damage. This does have critical hit chance on it. We are going to need to make sure that we have boots that have critical chance as well. Or somewhere we can make up critical hit chance, right? I think we could do it in the neck piece. So critical hit damage, critical hit chance. I need a speed one. Okay. So, super slow, super high damage. 4383. I could probably squeak in some more somewhere, but I think I need more of this critical hit chance actually. Let's see if I got a better optimized boot. That's critical hit chance, but then I don't have as much critical hit damage. That is a good mix of the both. 313. I think this is a better boot. I think that's a better boot. That's good. I can only get so much on this. Okay, so let's theorize with this build right here. This is going to be a I guess I'll push you forward. Kind of defeats the whole purpose of her kit, but let's just go with these stats, right? We'll assume Portrait because, well, we want to cleave, right? So we were at 4383 on the attack. We are at 340 on the critical damage. We're going to assume portrait, so let's get rid of that. Let's assume we are going to go in against some elemental advantage here. We're going to cleave what we think is a potential squishy team, right? We'll give ourselves full fighting spirit right out the gate. 20,000 damage soul burn, 15,000 damage with just the S3. Yeah. Even if we went in, even if we tried to cleave like a tank team, right? Let's just say adamant shield. That's still 13,000 damage, 16,000 damage on the S3 soul burn. You are going to push her forward. Obviously with Oxlots, let's take off elemental advantage. That's 11.7k, 15k with the defense or with the soul burn. Somebody is going to just try to cleave a defensive tank team, and it's not going to work. I don't think she's the greatest cleaver. She doesn't do as much as she should. I mean, even if you're trying to cleave, let's say you're trying to cleave a SSB through an Arius, which I don't know why you would try to do that, but you know, it is what it is. I'm sure that you have a great idea of why you wanted to do that. 10,000 damage. I don't think you're going to be doing it, right? So let's see, even if we take this down to 0, if you're trying to cleave an SSB with just this setup, elemental advantage, 13.5k on the soul burn. I don't know why you would cleave into an SSB in the first place, but yeah. Overall though, I think that she's actually going to be really nutty. If we go back to that one build that I had, I think that if we go back to speed boots, whose boots did I have on her? Rylet's boots. We had the Charlotte neck on. And then I had that speed sword. Actually, give me this sword. No, that wouldn't be adequate. Which speed sword did I have on her? I wish it would let me just save snapshots. Was it this one? Yeah, I think it was this one. No, it wasn't this one. Oh, we had the Charlotte ring, and then we had that Ravi weapon. Yeah, this build. I think this build is going to be just disgustingly good, actually. Obviously whale stats, right? So don't take these for you know, for the baseline, right? I mean, I've got a 41 attack weapon, 35 19 here. This is actually some of my better gear, so I don't know that I would fully commit this over. Dude, these boots are so good. This ring is disgusting as well. I am losing a little bit of stats here on the effect resist and the effectiveness on this piece. But I think that this is actually really good. 215 speed is not a slouch at all. This allows you to go after a lot of their buffers as well. So your Crows, your DNs are going to be a bit faster than 215 speed. And so you will be behind them, which means that you'll come out the gate with full fighting spirit. If we move back over to this, right, let's put these numbers back in just real quick. I should save these in the future. Note to self, save stats for future use. If you use portrait on her, personally, if I can pull enough of her artifact to guarantee that I will be able to plus 30 it, I will potentially use hers just for the increased CR push and the greater attack, which you can extend then with an Oxlots or your own DN or anything along those lines. But I think that the amount of damage that she's going to do, so let's just take off, let's just go back to Arius, right? the amount of damage after you get these attack stacks up is just disgusting. 1100 defense target through Arius, 10,000 damage just on the S1. Hold on, I gotta see. Actually, hold on, I want to see what I can get on a counterattack set. This is going to be a bit of an extended episode. So we want to build her tanky, right? I actually might just literally give her my Fire Ravi gear. Because right now, Fire Ravi is on counterattack. Fire Ravi gear, Fire Ravi gear. And Fire Ravi gear. Okay, so 181 speed, 14k hit points, 1100-ish defense, 3588 attack, and 270 on the crit. Let's go back over and let's see what we can think about in a theoretical counterattack build, right? So 3588, 270. We'll assume attack buff. So actually with this build, you're a little bit slower, right? You're 181. A little bit squishier because my counterattack Ravi gear is not the most amazing, but you're still doing almost as much damage as the previous build, right? But you're on a counterattack set, meaning that if you counterattack, you're going to CR push yourself. You're also going to gain fighting spirit. And if you get counterattacked by, or if you counterattack into somebody who has a buff, that's 30% CR push. So it doesn't matter that you have 81 speed, right? That actually might be fun. I feel like I might want to build it a little bit bulkier though, right? So if we come back over here, because you get those attack stacks like real quick, right? And you're still doing 10k through Arius Adamant, or through Arius with defense buff, or with 1100 defense. I mean, that's still a lot of damage, right? I think that the other thing that I was thinking too was maybe like a Sword of Judgment. We do have crit options here. So if we go with, do we have crit chance on this? We do. And I think that's why I used it. But this is just about as close, right? So we would drop a little bit of our attack damage. Actually, a lot of bit of our attack damage for more... which one do I want, actually? Because that would be less speed. This would be more speed than the previous one. HP-wise, we're just about the same on all of them. Just depends on if I would want to be slower or not. Yeah, like all three of these rolled kind of the same, actually. I feel like I don't necessarily need the overall speed, right? So potentially this is 100%. This is basically the same thing. This one's a little bit more hit points. Let's try this one. Because this is 1300 defense and almost 14k hit points. Do I have a better chest? Oh, that's actually a really good chest piece. What's my hat? Okay. Huge critical hit chance. And these boots, I think, are probably the best ones that I can muster as well. Let me see what other counterattack boots I have here. That's defense versus... This has... Nah, I like these boots better. That's defense and critical hit damage, actually. But that would also drop my overall HP. Yes, my effect resist K-round boots. Okay, so we're going to stick with this, right? So we'll come back over here. Go back up here. So 3225. We're a lot tankier now. And we're a bit more crit damagey, right? So a little slower, but more heft for sure. So 95, 788 or 78. I mean, this damage is still really, really good, especially at 5 stacks. Especially if you're cycling, right, with your counterattacks on the S1. Let's just even take off Portrait. So one of the theoretical builds that I was kind of playing around with was Sword of Judgment, counterattack Landy, right? So sure, you're doing 8k, but you also have the ability to Sword of Judgment. That's 60% potential CR boost. You're still doing reasonable damage. I know that these are not like, you know, big, massive damage numbers here, but you're also a bruiser, right? So I think overall that's the build. The speed crit build that I had theorized there wasn't too bad. There's some potential builds that I could run that would use immunity instead, so that you have that initial immunity turn. Like, so if we did speed immunity, main stat speeds, none of those. I'd have to play around with it, but I mean, I could probably put in things like, you know, like this. It does get rid of my effectiveness there. Actually, this is probably better overall from a speed standpoint. Well, actually, let's do this. I have better immunity gear on some of my other slots, actually. Not that one. We'll do... We'll do this. Which was the better one? 9. We'll do that. If we wanted to go just like full on kind of tank here, this way we can open into a I have some immunity helms, I'm sure. That's good. And then speed. We can just go back into this one that we have, and then for boots, actually, what is this? No, it's effect resist. This one might not be bad, actually. This one gives us a lot of defense, though. Speed, I want not effectiveness. So we could just do something like this, right? No, I need crit chance. This is my life, man. Actually, this isn't a bad build. With immunity. A little on the squish side, right? 1156 defense, only 12k hit points, but 215 speed. Decent overall stats on immunity. A lot of times when I do these videos, right, this helps me figure out my build, and I appreciate you guys watching and listening to me kind of ramble around through my own gear as I do this. So 216 speed. I don't think this bulk is enough, though. So let's assume portrait. Let's assume attack buff before her. We'll take off the attack stacks. This isn't going to do a lot right out the gate through an Arius to a bruiser. 7,800 damage. Soul burn 10k. Yeah, that's not great. If you were to defense break them though, then they're all gonna die. But I feel like that's the same with the vast majority of things, right? Yeah. I think though that Speed Bruiser is going to be the way to go. But I've been rambling for long enough. I think that this unit is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm 100% going to be pulling hard for her. Hopefully I do get her artifact, but I think that she's going to be really, really, really strong. Not only that, but she's limited. So anyways, guys, that's it for me. I'll do more in the future. Maths calculator is going to be down in the comments section. I'm also going to start, or not comment section, but the description. I'm going to start posting up like more useful links down there, so always check those out. If you're new here, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. If you don't want to, that's fine too. You do what you want to do, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy, homies. Peace. Cracky.